right, an interesting question I'd like to deal with briefly is the debate between one-to-one versus panel interviews. Which is best? Is one better than the other? When should they be used? What are the advantages and disadvantages? Well, the panel interview has certain advantages. It allows for one of the interviewers to question while the others can observe how the candidate is reacting. They can take notes freely. It also facilitates the presence of a range of experts or information sources so that they can be there allowing for a greater breadth of questioning and a greater breadth of discussion in the interview. It might also help to lessen the potential for individual prejudices or preferences that might over-influence the decision by having 2 or 3 different people interviewing. The disadvantages of the panel interview include the potential feelings of intimidation experienced by candidates facing what can sometimes seem like an interrogation board. Also, there is the very real potential for group think, where a certain form of group prejudice can apply, or one individual who's a very strong individual on the board can influence the others either positively or negatively. So you need to be conscious of that. In some organizations, the practice has been to conduct one-to-one interviews and not just one. So you go from interview to interview to interview with one individual. You're required to meet with a number of managers in a sequence. And that can provide a broader view of the individual. It may be better in uncovering relevant information. And it's possible that the candidate might perform better if less intimidated. Now, there is an extra amount of time and energy and investment required for all of that. It's all very much dependent, this sequential one-to-one interview is very much dependent on the level of preparation of the interviewers, how skilled they are at interview, and of course, their willingness to spend sufficient time. After all the candidates have been seen, because you have to sit down, discuss, compare, contrast, evaluate in order to make the best selection. And you need to be clear in advance what it was that you were looking for to help you to do that. Some interesting research that comes from LinkedIn in this whole area. The most popular interview technique is structured interviews. Most frequently used, they say, by HR professionals 74% of the time. The structured interviews is a combination of behavioral interviewing that we're going to look at in detail with a very formulaic and structured system where each candidate gets asked similar questions under the same competencies. 73% of HR professionals use behavioral interviews alone. 57% use phone screening, and 48%, this is interesting, use panel interviews. And that came from a piece of research carried out by LinkedIn back in 2018. Let me add one comment to you here as interviewers. There's an increasing use these days of pre-recorded videos for shortlisting. And this technique is you advise the candidates that they're going to be given 3 questions and they have 3 minutes to answer each question, which they have to record and submit to you. And then you can use that in order to review and decide who we're going to call forward for actual interview. That can be quite effective, and maybe more effective in some cases than using just the application form or CVs as a shortlisting technique. So that question about panel versus one-to-one, there's no perfect answer. It depends a little bit on your level of preparedness, your willingness to invest, and the skill levels of the interviewers concerned. Worth thinking about.